But anyways, if you're watching this on YouTube, thank you for all the love and support that you've been showing on the channel. I'm trying to post more consistently. If you want to come catch me live, slide over to the Twitch. And if you enjoy the vibes, make sure you slide subscribe. I really appreciate it, as it does help us to channel the algorithm, helps me grow, helps me get out there. And without further ado, let's vibe. I was kind of just scrolling through YouTube and I seen a video that popped up on my feed from the Sphere Hunter. Shout out to the Sphere Hunter. She makes fantastic videos. Or like I just used to watch a lot of their videos, I guess you could say, back in the day. I don't even know, like kind of anytime anything major pops off, I still watch their videos. Okay, and the fact that we got a new Resident Evil coming out, there was a video she posted that popped up on my feed called A Closer Look at Resident Evil 9 Requiem, and it had me in a state of mind of like, excuse me, instead of just watching this on my own time, what if I just watch this on stream and just give my thoughts on it? I know it's a 20-minute video. I'm a certified yapper. I'll probably turn it to like an hour-long video. I don't know. We'll see. But overall, I just wanted to take in what she had to say and like see like her point of view. And I know that some people were able to actually go out to Gamescom, I think it was, and get a hands-on closer look experience. And I don't know if that's her, but if she did, I kind of want to check that out. Once again, if you're watching this on YouTube, if you enjoy the vibes, make sure you slide and subscribe. I really appreciate it. Again, as it helps us channel the algorithm. And without further ado, let's vibe. Let's get into this. Oh, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate the follow. Karak? Karak? I don't know if I'm saying your name right. I'm sorry. I don't know if I'm saying your name right. Correct. But hey, I appreciate you coming through. Thank you. You said you just started following me on Twitter as well, and I really appreciate. Do you mean like a follow back on Twitter? Yeah, I got you. I mean, I'll check it out after. I mean, I haven't noticed because I don't really get notifications when people follow me anymore. Oh, excuse me. Oh, damn. Yeah, for me, it's been a really long day. So I'm kind of just looking forward to watching this video and seeing more about Resident Evil 9. You already know I'm going to be streaming this joint when it comes out. Just to get it out the way, I'm probably going to say it every single time that Resident Evil Requiem or Resident Evil 9 Requiem, however you want to say it, whichever your preference is. I'm not trying to get a lot of hate on for how I played Resident Evil 4 again, okay? If you missed that era, you're going to have to go check the playlist on the YouTube channel, okay? You're going to have to check that. But I genuinely enjoy every single Resident Evil experience, except some of the not tie-in titles. Is that the right word? Spin-off titles, where they're not mainline games. Some of them are hit or miss story-wise, but all of the mainline Resident Evil games are phenomenal. With that being said, yeah, let's jump into what the Sphere Hunter.
Resident Evil 9, or Requiem, has been officially announced, and what better timing than leading up to Resident Evils?
Hold on, double checking, make sure I can hear. Shit. Making sure. Can y'all hear? On this side.
30th anniversary.
Yeah.
This year's Summer Game Fest, we finally got to see
Yeah, Summer Games Fest was lit this year.
Game in my favorite franchise. I also went to Summer Game Fest and saw even more of what was shown.
Bro, I can't wait one day to go to one of these live events.
All about my findings in the game's phenomenal trailer and explain in too much detail what I saw behind closed doors. So what do you say? Let's get into it.
Ooh, bro, we really got Resident Evil 9 coming out. When was Village? Village came out. I see that. Are they treating this like a mainline title? Because it says RE9 a part of the thing, and that's the thing. It says RE9, but at the same time it says Requiem. Similarly to how Resident Evil 8 said Resident Evil Village, but it's like Roman numerals, so the VIII is like is a part of the word village, which is kind of creative and unique. Are they kind of doing the same thing with Requiem? I see in her title here it says RE9 for the Q, and then the rest of how you spell Requiem with the UIEM. If that's how they're doing it, that'd be kind of cool. But from what I've seen, from what I've seen on storefronts, it just says Resident Evil Requiem. And it's, well, I guess that's kind of how they have to spell it, right? I don't know. Maybe I'm just yapping.
The trailer begins at the FBI's headquarters, of all places, an organization that has previously existed and was mentioned before in Resident Evil supplemental material, as well as the fax that is sent to Chris, found by Claire in the original RE2. We see an all-new character.
I kind of want to replay through RE2, the original, and 3.
Out of her work.
I haven't played them since I was like a child. Oh, we got ads. We got ads. Damn. There was like the last time I think I played it was I was like super young, and I personally can't remember actually beating Resident Evil 2 or 3 like from memory, but my memory kind of sucks ass anyway. When it comes to remembering stuff from my childhood, like that far away, I just remember playing them a lot when I was younger. And I just remembered so much of the game when the remakes came out that it felt like, oh yeah, I've played this and beaten this before. You know what I mean? It's not like I have a fond or vivid memory of like, yeah, I beat this when I was a child. But I just remember playing through all of the game. Especially with 3. 3 was my favorite, and I know 3 was my favorite because I had the PlayStation 1 disc for the demo, and I would replay that fucking demo over and over and over and over and over and over again. That shit was like my favorite goddamn horror game to play. And then when the full game came out, of course, I played that. But similarly, I don't remember actually like beating it.
Yes.
But I know I played them.
Since the day it was
and I know they're putting the.
Tell you how high I jumped out of my seat.
I'm sorry. I know I'm yapping at the same time. I'm not sorry, bro. It's my channel. I yap. I know that a part of Summer Games Fest or the State of Play, whichever, it was one of the most recent things from the recent weekend that we had of gaming news that they said they're putting on the PlayStation Store for like premium subscribers or whatever, or part of the PlayStation Classics catalog. Yeah, I'm gonna be there for that.
Hearing the name Ashcroft in a brand new Resident Evil game. As Grace leaves her desk, we see it.
Oh, whoa, let's go back. Let's go back.
How high
My fault.
I jumped out of my seat hearing the name the day it was released.
Grace Ashcroft. Yes.
Grace Ashcroft.
Since the day it was released, I can't tell you how high I jumped out of my seat hearing the name Ashcroft in a brand new Resident Evil game. As Grace leaves her desk, we see it absolutely covered in documents.
I love how they just analyze all their stuff.
Grace happens to be an FBI analyst, and if you're unaware, this role in the
always loved how they analyze their stuff.
In the office. Analysts will oftentimes work on multiple cases, in the hopes of finding trends and links between them. Before she was snapped out of her trance, she was working hard on a particular
I'm more so curious on what we're going to be fighting in this game.
Where each victim was suspiciously infected with an unknown disease.
Because we've gotten past the mold.
A lot like the incidents around the Arclay Forest back in Raccoon City. In Dempsey's office,
like we've gotten past the mold.
Grace here is the daughter of the one and only
T-virus, all the other viruses gone.
Worse yet, we learn that this girl's mother apparently died 8 years prior to this story. Dempsey orders Grace to check out the Remwood Hotel, the place where Alyssa apparently met her end. Sending an analyst out on field work isn't completely uncommon, but it is peculiar, especially for what follows. Upon first viewing, I was so blown away at this familial connection that I didn't fully process that they were telling me that Alyssa died.
Yeah, I was just about to say, that seems like a very pivotal moment that they're kind of just saying, like, yo, your mom died 7 years ago or something. So they're just saying, yeah, a mainline, well, I guess she's not mainline, but a major Resident Evil character was killed off screen, which I'm sure is pissing some people off, but I don't really remember Outbreak that much. I just remember some portions of the game, but I didn't remember her name. I remember the model design when she was just showing it over here. I just don't remember, like, again, some things that I played when I was a kid. Like, that game, if I can remember, that came out 2004. I was 4 or 5 years old, something like that. Like, yeah, I played the game, but, like, damn, I haven't touched it since, basically. I haven't even heard anybody mention the damn game since that shit came out for real. Something that, like, that's kind of, like, in my head right now, too. People have been saying, as well as, what's his name? At the Summer Game Fest, said that this is going to be an experimental experience for the Resident Evil franchise. The only thing that I don't want to happen, because I know that this character, because again, this was posted like in the blog somewhere, doesn't have a lot of combat experience, which is fine. Ethan Winters at first didn't have a lot of combat experience. He got better, which is why Resident Evil Village was so combat focused, and it was like so pumped up with energy, you know, similarly to how Leon wasn't the most combat trained when he was first introduced, but then his later titles, he was much more combat and action oriented. If they're doing something similar here, where she can still at least protect herself, use a gun, you know, do her own thing, cool. Claire wasn't the most combat focused, trained, I don't think so. Like, yeah, she has some training from Chris, but it wasn't like she was doing what Leon's doing in freaking Resident Evil 4. You know what I mean? So, I say that because I heard a rumor that it's basically going to be one of the least combat games in the entire franchise, where it's really turning the dial up on the horror aspect of stuff and trying to give you scares differently. And although I'm not entirely opposed against that idea, if it's done correctly, there's just something deeply rooted in me that I know for a fact I'm not going to like. I know that they said this is the first Resident Evil game we're getting in first person and a toggle that we could put in third person. Great. I just want to experience the game how they want me to experience the game, and then I'll do it later in another view. So however the game is supposed to be viewed first, that's probably how I'm going to play it. Anyways, I say all that to say, 'cause I really hate walking simulator horror games. That's why you guys don't see me post a lot of horror games nowadays anymore, whereas I used to post a lot of horror content back in the day. I'm just so tired and drawn out of, hey, I paid $30 for this experience and I'm just walking and running and hiding. I love when I'm able to fight back. I know some people say that takes away from the horror factor, but it doesn't if the game is crafted properly. Because it's survival horror, you still have to manage your equipment, you have to manage your weapons, your weapon upgrades, if it's the type of game that you can upgrade your weapons. You still have to manage all of your resources and build up everything. So there's still a fear of like, oh, I could die from this thing. Should I waste ammo on this? Should I just try to pop the kneecaps and just use the knife? What can and can't I do on your first time playing the game? There's no guides. Although, let's be real here, in today's age, there's going to be like a million videos on best weapons to use in Resident Evil Requiem, where to find this thing, I fucking hate that shit. But my point, I hate the experience where I just get on the game, I'm walking around, and I can't do anything. So I just don't want that to be the experience that we have for Resident Evil Requiem, bro. I don't want that to be that. If that's what they're saying, and they're saying that's experimental, just throw it in the trash, catch me in the next game. But if they're saying, hey, this is going to be psychological horror, we're experimenting with that some, is going to be the traditional Resident Evil formula, she's not going to have as many weapons, maybe just a pistol, potentially finding a shotgun here and there, like every Resident Evil game has a shotgun, come on now. But she's not going to get all the extras, like, oh, you have grenade launchers, and you have rocket launchers, and then you have these other freaking eccentric weapons. Like, I'm cool with that. Just give her the baseline Resident Evil, the Resident Evil starter kit. Give her that, the Resident Evil starter kit, where I can just shoot people, shoot zombies, shoot creatures, whatever, and still have that sense of horror. Similarly to Resident Evil 7. You didn't have a bunch of stuff decked out, and they was really, really hammering it on the horror aspect of that game, and all the puzzles and the resources. If you wasted ammo in Resident Evil 7, you was not making that ammo back. Point blank period, especially on the higher difficulties. But if they can give us a similar experience, or maybe just balance it, like, I don't know how they're experimenting. That's basically what I'm saying. I know I'm yapping.
This that I'll explore a little bit later, but for now, oh my god, RE Engine Alyssa Ashcroft. There she is, and she looks great. We actually get to see a good bit of her, and in some shots she appears younger, as if we're seeing her original Outbreak incarnation. I should probably explain who Alyssa Ashcroft
yes,
is.
Please.
Never played the Outbreak games.
Please.
Alyssa was a reporter working for Raccoon City's Comet News back in '98. She was cool, sassy, capable, and had one hell of a dodge. Her iframes were absolutely on fire. Alyssa shares connections with a few other Resident Evil characters, notably Ben Bertolucci from RE2. She actually gets him his confiscated documents that he shares with Leon at the end of his story. The character January Van Sant from Resident Evil Resistance is commissioned by Alyssa to gather info.
Wow, that's crazy. I didn't play Resistance. I didn't play Resistance at all.
Captured by said corporation.
Didn't have friends to play with.
And always used to say she was like if Jill Valentine and Aya Brea had a baby. Her bio literally says she's a master of unlocking things, so you know she's a prime candidate to survive some horror. To make a long story short, she's one of the best characters to play as an Outbreak for her well-rounded skill set and no-nonsense, very fun personality.
Interesting that they're bringing somebody from not in the limelight to the forefront.
From Grace's POV at some point in her life. If we do the math and look at RE's various timelines, Alyssa would have to escape Raccoon City, then give birth to Grace for her current day, younger appearance to make the most sense. Grace also has flashbacks to a strange hooded man that we see a few times throughout the trailer. This man looks conscious but infected. I have a harebrained conspiracy theory about this guy that I'll get into later. For now, it seems like this hooded man may be responsible for Alyssa's death at this mysterious hotel. Dempsey remarks that it might be time for Grace to face her past, as we see some more of the decrepit hotel flash before her eyes. We then smash cut to Grace in a dire situation.
I'm not gonna lie, I was really hoping that we would get to play with shit, I have Grace's name in my head right now. Damn, what's her name? Ethan Winter's daughter, Rose. I mean, I know we played as her in the DLC, but I thought we was gonna get like more.
She's tied to a hospital bed, suspended upside down. Since I went to Summer Game Fest, I actually got to see this entire scene play out, and I'll talk about that a little bit later.
Oh, for real?
Examining a press screenshot sent out by Capcom, Grace is locked up in the Rhodes Hill Chronic Care Center, sent out by Capcom.
This brings me to a point that I wanted to say. If we could get Resident Evil games or just modern gaming to go back to the fixed camera angle style, I would have so much fun. It was so immersive that way too. I guess for me, I'm feeling nostalgic because I was just recently playing the original classic 2005 God of War games on the channel. And of course, I'm starting the next game in my chronological order of playing the game, which is God of War Ascension, because I started with God of War 1, and then again you guys told me to go backwards and play it in chronological order, so I'm restarting with Ascension, and then I'll go on and on and on. My point is that those games all the way up to the PS3 era still had fixed camera angles. They're phenomenal games. They're great games. Think about some of the games that you love the most and how different it feels when you can move your camera around. Metal Gear Solid. Like, I feel like so many modern titles are constantly saying, well, when you're in first person, and when you're able to dynamically control your camera, now it's a more immersive and realistic experience. That's not always the case. Sometimes you just gotta remember the fun factor in things. When I'm playing like games that have fixed camera angles, I'll be focused. Devil May Cry, God of War, Metal Gear Solid. Like, come on, OG Resident Evils. What's some more? Somebody post them down in the comments below. Y'all know what I'm talking about. I'm not saying that the 3D animated, they are animated, but I'm not saying the 3D rotating camera, first person, third person style is bad. I'm just saying, I like the classic shit too. It's a different type of immersion. It's a different type. And there's a different type of fear when it comes to horror games that's built that way, because you don't know what's going on. Like, imagine you're playing the OG Resident Evil games, but they look like this, and this is one of the fixed camera angles, and you have your character just running around in that. That's still cool. It's still cool. That's fire. Just because it was an old trick that was used because, the technological limitations at the time made it that it just looked better to have pre-rendered frames and scenes behind you, doesn't mean that you gotta stop using the trick now that you found out how to have us be inside of the world with you. I'm sorry.
Grace is locked up in the Rhodes Hill Chronic Care Center, this being a never-before-seen location in Resident Evil. At first, I thought this hospital was going to be the same place in the flashback scenario.
Man, people just can't stop doing evil shit in Resident Evil, can they?
In this game. But then I remembered that building crumbles to the ground at the end of that level, so yeah. Next, we get a few interesting shots of what look like an old Gothic building that appears to be this very care center. We hear what I think is Alyssa telling Grace to stay close and that they're coming, likely referring to zombies or other horrors. There's also a shot of an overcast city street that I want to believe is Raccoon City, but more likely another place that Grace is investigating, since it doesn't have that sort of flashback.
I don't think it could be Raccoon City unless they're starting to rebuild, because it did show a pan out of Raccoon City's huge crater during the trailer.
Drape-covered window on his left. This interior and its atmosphere look and feel very next-gen, very ominous. His dialogue is...
Yeah, when are they gonna bring Wesker back?
Grace, the special one that he's been looking for.
I mean, he was technically in Resident Evil 4 Remake's DLC.
Miss Ashcroft.
If we zoom in on this particular close-up, we can see that the man's skin is rather decomposed and pale. I do believe that this is the mysterious...
I didn't catch decomposed, but...
I think this guy is going to be the main villain, but more on him.
She be locked in.
Money shot, as we see the bombed-out ruins of Raccoon City.
So that's what I'm saying.
The crater lay beside a collection of surprisingly intact buildings. This city, once the site of bustling commerce and life, turned zombie apocalypse, now clings to its undead existence, refusing to die. We get detailed shots around the city's ruins as we finally see it. The ruins of the RPD.
Damn, bro, I'm so excited. If we get to go inside of that,
a building.
I'm also curious on the scale of the game. Y'all already know me and my outlook on stuff. Just because it's a new game doesn't mean that you have to ramp the scale up. It's okay to bring it down if it's more detailed. I say that because Resident Evil Village took it a huge step up by making it, you can explore this area, you got this area, and this area, and then you got this factory underground that's like 6 hours, and you got this thing. I mean, we don't gotta travel everywhere. If we could travel a lot of places, cool. But if we are like isolated to like, this is just one area and it's a lot of detail in it, I'm fine with that. I'm totally fine with that.
You know very well. This place is like a home away from home for a lot of RE fans.
Oh my
seeing
gosh.
it in this state left me feeling kind of somber. I know some of you probably thought about this too. The only other time we ever got to see a post-apocalyptic RPD was actually in arguably the worst Resident Evil title ever made, Umbrella Corps. Though in that game, it wasn't as destroyed as it is here.
I don't know, Resident Evil 5 is kind of trash.
Always wanted to do, where the star characters of the franchise return to the ruins of Raccoon City and the Spencer Mansion. This idea, often referred to as Biohazard Dash, was planned after the release of the first game, but quickly shelved. I guess Capcom's finally doing it, and it's pretty cool to see. I personally hope we also get to explore the Arklay Mountains and everyone's favorite haunted mansion. The dialogue over these shots.
I don't want to. I hear what she's saying. I don't want that experience playing as a new character for us. I want that experience playing with Leon. I want that experience playing with Claire. Like seeing their experience. Or if we're going to the first game, I want that experience as Jill. You feel me? That's what I want.
Caught my attention. So I want you guys to stick with me no matter how silly or fanfiction-y this might sound. The first line we hear is,
Investigating all these strange deaths, huh?
I think that this voice belongs to Kevin Ryman from Outbreak. Outbreak fans, tell me that does not sound exactly like him. With us getting
Outbreak fans are eating.
Era flashback of Alyssa, the chances we'll see other Outbreak characters isn't exactly the lowest, you know? After that we hear more of what I assume to be Alyssa, and then we hear another voice. Again, stick with me on this. I think that voice is Mark from Outbreak. I believe that we will get quick flashes.
I didn't hear anything, but it's fine.
RE4R has Leon remembering Raccoon City, so who's to say when Grace isn't a child, her no-nonsense mom might open up to her about the moment that shaped her life forever. She literally survived Raccoon City. That's no easy feat, and it would undeniably stay with you, as we've seen with every other main character.
Yeah, that's like us remembering 9/11.
To end the trailer, we see a man struggling to warn someone to stay away as he mutates in real time, his throat deteriorating right in front of us. We see the hooded man suffocating what looks to be a politician sort. This particular moment might be related to the report found on Grace's computer. And we flash to a police officer zombifying before our eyes. I don't know about
very
you guys, but this dude
similar.
looks like he's been plucked straight out of the 90s. Finally,
Yeah, I
we
was
see
gonna
a
say,
massive dark creature descending out
very
of the ceiling of the
RE2
Boone's
like.
Hill Care Center. Boy, do I have a theory for you on what I think this is. Let's just say those audible chains rattling may not just be a creepy sound effect. The logo drop is accompanied by the monster screaming in our faces.
Requiem.
RE9. Requiem. Sheesh. What an incredible way to return us to the world of survival horror.
Yeah.
So before I move on to the SGF secret gameplay I experienced, I want to tell you guys my crazy theory about what I think the villain's goal.
All right, let's
is,
hear it. Let's hear
what
it.
Grace's role in the story may potentially entail. So if you're a hardcore Outbreak fan, you'll know that by default, each of the characters you play as are actually infected with the T-virus.
Are we gonna have to do a video just reacting to the history of the Outbreak games?
Gameplay, this virus gauge counts up to full infection. If you lose track of this thing, you may become a zombie. Spoilers for the first Outbreak, but in the final level of the
That's
game,
kind of
you can
fire.
actually make a cure for your T-virus infection. That being the Daylight vaccine. Taking it removes the virus gauge completely. RE9 is telling us that Alyssa Ashcroft is the canon survivor of that game. So it would make sense if, after the events of Outbreak, her child would most likely be immune to any zombie viruses. Given she's born with
T-viruses.
vaccine's agents
T-virus
in her
though, right?
bloodstream. This is kind of a sneak preview into what I saw at SGF, but in that
Well,
scene where
the
Grace
G-virus
bringing
is its
her
own
down,
thing.
she's actually being drained of her blood. You can even briefly see the glass IV hanging next to her. I think whatever infection
Is the
I
thought the T-virus was kind of like eliminated though.
Completely. I
Basically.
believe whoever this guy is, he's going to be the final link to old school Umbrella. I don't think he's going to be a revived Wesker or Birkin. Resident Evil loves doing villain of the week nowadays, so it's safe to assume that whoever he is, he's gonna be entirely new. It seems like he's taking out his aggression on key political figures to send a message to the FBI, possibly to lure out and steal Grace's blood for himself. Grace
Could
being
be.
the special person he's looking for might be able to cure him. With Alyssa allegedly passing away, this guy can't abduct her and use her blood, but that also may be the reason why Alyssa is gone. Maybe this dude killed her while experimenting on her, or maybe her immune blood has aged and lost its potency, leading him to need a newer, younger candidate with the same immunity. I don't want to believe that Alyssa Alyssa is dead, considering we haven't seen her for over 20 years, but it could be good motivation for Grace to want to catch this guy. Does that all sound
Yeah, it's just,
fishy,
it
or-
feels weird that they would name drop somebody and then be like, yeah, they're dead, knowing that there's an entire fan base of people that is
or
just like
maybe
waiting
too spot on?
to
I
like
was
play the game
putting
again
all
or
this
hear more
together while watching
information.
the game play out in front of me. I'm really excited to see how all of this plays out and to see if Alyssa really did die 8 years back. Knowing RE, the writers are historically pretty generous to our favorite characters. As we know, fake outs are always possible, especially for masters of unlocking. So with all that
Yeah,
said,
I was gonna say she could be hidden and we find her somewhere in the game, and she's just been missing for so long that she was just reported as dead, but really she's just missing.
I went to Summer Game Fest and got to see a decently sized portion of RE9's gameplay, and what I saw blew my mind. So the demo begins with Grace hanging upside down, getting her blood drained in an almost Saw movie style contraption.
Please
Grace,
give us a
being an
playable
FBI
demo sometime
analyst,
soon.
uses her smarts to escape the device. She knocks over the glass IV next to the bed filled with her own blood, drags
Okay.
the broken bottle up to her hand, and is able to cut herself free as the gameplay begins.
Fire.
Now, listen carefully. Our starting perspective is first-person view. Please wait before you start complaining, okay? The game does feel a lot like RE7, with the hospital Grace is trapped in being this dingy, old American Gothic building. The halls of Rhodes Hill are almost pitch black, and to my surprise, Grace actually uses a Zippo lighter to light her way forward, just like Claire in Code Veronica.
Bro, I don't know about you. This title about to be one of Resident Evil's scariest games. You put us in a hospital, a gothic, decrepit hospital? Hospitals alone are scary. Now you're purposefully trying to make it old and decrepit? Yeah.
The goal in this demo is to find a fuse to open a gate to safety. As you'd expect, a classic Resident Evil key hunt commences. As we go, we find a themed key, the Cherub key, which opens
that
a
looks
specific
cool.
door
That
leads
looks
us
super
to a
cool.
file that explains where we can find a screwdriver that opens up a fuse box. As we approach the nurse's wing,
Say that again?
explains where we can find a Cherub key, which opens a specific door that leads us to a file that explains where we can find a screwdriver that opens up a fuse box. As we
Gotcha.
approach the nurse's wing, Grace is caught off guard by a dead body toppling onto her, knocking her to the floor. Before she can catch her breath and lift the carcass, a massive creature creeps up behind her. Its gigantic hand scoops up the dead body, biting its head off cleanly. This initiates a classic Nemesis-style chase sequence. When I tell you that
Oh
this
my
chained
gosh.
thing is tall, I mean it's like 20 feet tall.
They've been milking. I'm not mad at it. They've been milking the Mr. X effect, bro. Because we didn't really have something chasing us like that in Resident Evil 4. Neither did we in 5 or 6. But they hurt us. They said, our fans really like that extra sense of pressure when there's somebody behind us. Except now they actually look terrifying. Don't get me wrong, Nemi, he looked terrifying too, right? He looked crazy. Even crazier when that motherfucker is goddamn full sprinting at you. But like, you know, easy enough. You figure out how he works his triggers, and obviously he can shoot his damn thing at you, unlike the freaking remake where he has scripted times where he shoots at you. Kind of weird and weak. But he has a pretty good way of kind of like stunning him. Mr. X, yeah, he's menacing, but he doesn't look creepy like that. You know what I mean? Like, he's freaky, but he doesn't look that creepy. I mean, dude just looks like a big, brolic version of a goddamn synth from Fallout 4, basically. But then you see this gigantic, creeping woman figure. That's freaky. And then you hear chains. I bet it's gonna be some audible cue thing where it's like, you hear chains, your ass better start fucking booking it. And she's probably gonna like walk really slow and also kind of work similarly to Nemesis, where she has a running mode that, like, maybe if you anger her or if you're close enough, or I don't know, just some type of code runs through her where it's like every now and then she might do some burst to try to come and get you. You just feel like the experience is going to be way more creepy, especially since it's so unknown, and because they're making a deliberate action, again, from what I've heard, to make you know, like, this is an experience where you're not always fighting back, which makes it a little bit more creepy.
Its body fills the rooms and door frames it's squeezed into. We get to see this monster very briefly in the reveal trailer, but that shot of it coming out of the ceiling does not do its size justice. The incredibly dark atmosphere of this place is heightened by the massive roaring nightmare right behind us. We even get to see Grace trip all over herself during this specific chase scene, which makes the first-person view option feel even more nightmarish.
Hell yeah, it does.
Capcom have made their most non-combative RE protagonist yet. I feel like when playing as her, we'll really have to use our brains to solve the game's conflicts. The way this monster chases Grace isn't fixed or linear either. She's climbing up into the ceiling, going through walls and windows, and also dropping in when you least expect it. Watching the gameplay reminded me of running from the Xenomorph from Alien Isolation.
Oh,
RE9
fuck.
will feature the best and most replayable chase scenes in the
If they give this shit an AI that to this day have not had played a game yet that has an AI that could even come close to matching the Xenomorph in Alien Isolation, if this is going to be the contender, they just made a classic game for the next 10 years.
Series to date. As Grace finds her way out of the maze of dark halls, she escapes the dark wing of the hospital, ending the demo. But the mic drop moment that made me react like this.
We're gonna rewind it.
Backbone was originally
I didn't think there was any way.
Me pressing back, put another freaking ad in? That's crazy.
But the mic drop moment that made me react like this.
Let's go, baby!
That's actually her.
Done, the game paused itself, the settings menu opened, and the player chose to switch the game to third-person view.
Oh shit!
Both
Yeah, that's cool.
perspectives
That's
are
cool.
fully
Yeah.
playable in RE9. The third-person view looks exactly like RE4R's wider camera perspective.
Okay.
It's not going to be a jankier RE.
It's kind of weird because it's supposed to be like an enclosed and capture because of a hospital, so I don't see how it could be that wide.
Village third-person mode like we got with Gold Edition. Capcom have clearly been developing this game with both perspectives in mind, and that's probably why it's been taking so long to show it. I am so excited to replay the game both ways. This option put a smile on my face because I know a lot of fans genuinely don't like first-person view, and that's very understandable with this being a historically third-person game franchise. Well, now you can play however you want. Before
some
I move
change
on to
is
my
good,
own
though.
unofficial speculations for what the rest of the gameplay might be, I have another theory about what or even who this giant monster is. I got to see this creature in all of its glory, standing on her hind legs, swiping away at Grace and even picking Grace up and chomping down on her shoulder. By the way, that attack looked exactly like the classical painting Saturn devouring his son. I kid you not. All of this was accompanied by the monster
Damn, bro!
with some very familiar noises. RE1 Remake is my favorite game of all time. I've played thousands of hours of that title.
I've never played the remake of RE1.
Every single thing about that game is burned into my memory. When I tell you I was perplexed, excited, and utterly terrified at hearing this chained-up monster make the exact same noises as Remake 1's Lisa Trevor, I was stunned. You can even hear this RE9 monster in the SGF reaction room that I was in. Take a listen for yourself. If we're returning to Raccoon City, I think it's very possible that the one unkillable monster that may have been trapped in these ruins, surviving and evolving for the past 30 years, could be Lisa Trevor.
That's crazy!
Lisa Trevor, I'll add. At no point was her name ever spoken, but I know what I heard, and I know what I saw definitely
That's crazy!
I know about this series. If this isn't Lisa, well, damn, I guess Capcom are just masters of reusing their own assets. Okay. Moving on. Official footage and my own crazy theories aside,
that's why I love Capcom, bro. When it comes to this horror shit, they be tying stuff in together and stuff that make it so crazy for people that don't even always know everything that's going on. Like, you might not know everything about like who Lisa is, but the fact that they're tying something away and then like making it link back in for something like 30 years later or something, like, you gotta have respect, bro. That shit's crazy. Hold on one sec. I don't know what the hell that was. What? I hate when like I get people that like send me voicemails, but like the voicemail was like super low and you can't hear it, but you're trying to hear it. I hate that.
Own speculations on how the rest of the game is going to play out, so let's talk about that. Like the Ethan Winters games, I do believe a legacy character will show up, and we will switch to playing as them for a more action-orientated gameplay experience. RE has always had strong action gameplay roots, even in its original trilogy. It's a guaranteed selling point for the series, and I fully believe while the survival horror elements will be upgraded, as I saw in the demo, I'm sure the action elements will also get a similar upgrade. Whether that character be a returning hero like Jill, Leon, or Chris is kind of up in the air, seeing as how each of those people all spent time and have history in Raccoon City. Something that
it could be all of the above
has stuck out in my mind. He talked about the game being something ambitious, the
right.
scale being a lot bigger than previous games.
Oh, I didn't hear that.
Gameplay I experienced, I don't think we'll be getting like a full open world like a lot of other games, but I feel like RE9's game world is going to be a larger open map with classic puzzle-filled, backtrackable hub zones. The fact that the trailer
what if we can just explore all of Raccoon City, what's left of it? We get to go to Jill's apartment. We get to go to I don't know. I'm just spitballing ideas.
Showed us so much of Raccoon City in great detail, like specific locations.
Like them. I hope it's not just cutscene, but them showing us the front of the RPD. Makes me feel like we can actually travel there.
Makes me think we'll be able to fully explore this ruined city. I immediately thought of Days Gone, mostly because it's a zombie exploration game and I happen to like it a lot, but also because with a potentially open area map, you'd need some kind of vehicle to get around. This might purely be my fan fiction brain talking here.
You want a Resident Evil game to play like this?
Around this dilapidated town on a motorcycle. Grace is a
I feel like that would
nerd in general, as we've seen, but I love the idea that she may have
I feel like you have to give the person weapons, though, to do that. Again, you can't make her so non-combative, but then have her making all this noise and driving around.
Have this one unabashedly badass quality to her, and that could possibly be bike riding. Like, wouldn't it be so cool outrunning zombies or maybe even that giant hospital monster while getting to your next location in the ruined city? Another reason which makes me think this is because she's literally wearing motorcycle boots in the trailer. But a girl can dream, can I? Also, in the behind closed doors demo, I really got the sense that Grace isn't a quitter, if you know what I mean. She definitely isn't a fighter, but she is mentally equipped with the skills to persevere. So maybe that means she has a badass, post-apocalyptic motorcycle, I don't know. In essence, those are my thoughts on RE9 so far. They showed so much, yet so little. I'm sure whatever else they're planning is gonna be great as well. I do think this will be the most epic RE game in terms of scale. One thing that kind of bothers me about new Resident Evil games is the series' shaky commitment to new and old characters. Sometimes it could seem like the games rely on having you pop off and get excited at seeing Leon or Chris again, and sometimes we get a dry guy like RE7's Ethan. What's got me so excited about RE...
Dry guy? Hold on. Ethan disrespect is not tolerated on this channel. Hello? Ethan was fire, bruh. Ethan was fire. His story was fire. What you
Nine
talking
is,
about?
well, we are getting a brand new character
Ethan brought the entire series back to life. Let's be real.
in Grace. She is the offspring of a legacy character, a rather obscure one at that. It's a refreshing concept that's got me so excited to see what Alyssa
But Alyssa isn't a legacy character, though. Like, she's not a mainline legacy character. She's, like, a legacy character by age, but she's not, like, at the forefront. Like, a lot of people don't know Alyssa Ashcroft. A lot of people know Claire, you know, Redfield. People know Chris Redfield. And now people know Ethan Winters. Stop disrespecting Ethan.
Ashcroft came up to all these years later. Who would have imagined that lonely RE7 news article written by Miss Ashcroft would have led us to this very moment? Capcom, you are Galaxy Brain for doing this, so thank you for bringing back my favorite Outbreak
this was
character
written by her?
and putting Outbreak in the spotlight. If another trailer drops with even more info, you
Alyssa
know I'll be on
Ashcroft.
it. If another trailer
What
drops
year?
with
2016? So Alyssa Ashcroft had to have died recently-ish.
even more info, you know I'll be on it.
Or
If
what,
Leon
missing?
or Jill come power sliding in to save Grace from Lisa Trevor 2.0, I might have to call Capcom and ask if they're stealing my fanfiction. Well, I guess I have to make an Outbreak retrospective now, huh? Until next time, hunters.
Yeah,
stay
I'm
tuned.
there for the Outbreak retrospection. I don't know. Y'all let me know your thoughts about all this stuff down in the comments below. I'm super curious on it, honestly. And I'm looking forward to the game, clearly. But yeah, I mean that's really it. I just wanted to hop on here on stream and you know, look at some of this stuff together with people, because to me there's so much going on with newer Resident Evil games, so much going on with old Resident Evil games. They're doing remakes. They're always doing something, you know? And I never know, like, what's the next big thing. On top of that, they kept throwing this word around by saying experimental, ambitious, and I'm sitting here like, but how ambitious are you gonna get? I think the game is looking up to date. You know, I don't know how much better games can like actually can look. The game looks phenomenal. I just want to give me a demo. Is that too much to ask? They gave us a Resident Evil 3 demo. And they gave us a 4 demo. Actually, Capcom has been pretty good at giving people demos. So, hopes high, fingers crossed, they give us a demo. I think that's my three main goal points that I want hit. If she's going to be the most least combative character we've gotten in recent years, at least give her the basics: pistol, shotgun, knife, a good dodge, something. If she doesn't have a dodge, you know, let her sprint be good. I don't know. Give her some defining characteristic that doesn't just make me feel like it's every other game, you know? I don't want it to just feel like I'm just running around. This is, you know, a simulator for me to just constantly just run around and do puzzles. That's not the type of game. That's not Resident Evil to me. Give her some defining characteristic. What's Chris's defining characteristic? The motherfucker punched the goddamn boulder, right? He's the most action-oriented character in Resident Evil, probably. What's Leon's defining characteristic? He cool. Brody is cool. Rookie cop turned into super badass agent. That's his defining characteristic. If she's gonna be the character that's super smart, quirky, can find her way in and out of situations, that's totally fine. All I'm asking is that she has a little bit more than just that, you know? That's all I'm saying. I don't know. Y'all could disagree with me. Totally, y'all could disagree with me.